and they are listening to some idiot from Turkey, a mortuary attendant, who is, because he has nobody to talk to, they are only dead people. So he has all the time, his customers can't talk. So for him, he has all the time to tell you. The other day I saw him announcing the next people who are going to die violently. Nobert Mao, Chief Justice Owindolo, and he listed, and you citizens are there paying attention. Okay, one day I will die, but it is my duty to defend myself and to make sure I do my best. When it happens, it happens. But now, for me, I'm actually more worried about you, the citizens. You have allowed these people to live in your brains for nothing. Please, let's deal with this. So why are citizens not here? You people of the Manifesto, why are you not here? Next time Ministry of Education is going to be here. You are being overcharged fees. Why are you not filling this conference room? This is your opportunity. Tomorrow, Ministry of Health will be here. These nurses who have been demonstrating, the doctors, they will not be here. I would have loved them to hire Kamunyes and come in their gowns and just occupy that entire place. What a better demonstration that would be. So, I think we need a new civic culture in this country, where citizens can realize that, you know what, we can hold people accountable. Not only government, even private sector. The other day I saw a lady quarreling in a bank. She had finished paying her loan, but they are refusing to return her land title to her. Now what do? That one should be when the Ministry of Finance is here. Hopefully the Governor Bank of Uganda will be here. And citizens will be saying, banks are overcharging us. When we go for a loan, you get this, you get this, you get this. Don't we have a government? You are being sold fake drugs in pharmacies. Why are you not here to mention the names of the pharmacies? So, to use a famous phrase, mwebereremo. We fight for you, but also fight for yourselves. It is important. I thought I should state that because it pains me to see citizens who are allowing to be diverted. You will be told tomorrow that there's agricultural credit facility in these banks. When Ministry of Agriculture is here, I don't know whether they are finished or not. Why aren't all the farmers groups here asking? Why is the Ministry of Agriculture accrediting fake seed companies? You should be here dealing with those issues. Because you don't have any other government. So, I want to admit that corruption has to be fought by a network, because corruption has a network. It takes a network to defeat a network. Just like it takes an army to defeat an army. You don't fight it as an individual. My brother, Honorable Eddie Kwizera.
It's a 5-year document. We are not yet even mid-term. But as far as our goals are concerned, we will put ourselves at a modest 60%. Because in the first few years, that is when you lay the foundation. A manifesto for it to take off requires initial energy. That's why I'm putting it at 60%. What do you want to know about Uganda? Twetaaga Bannayuganda bazuukuke bamanye nti tulina gavumenti era gavumenti eteeka okubaweereza. Ekyokulabirako natuuse wano nga waliwo okwogera ku nsonga za manifesto naye nga holo nkalu Abannayuganda basiiba ku social media, bali ku TikTok, bali ku Twitter, bali ku Facebook. Baminisita bonna bagenda kujja wano, aba health. Ku lunaku minisita wa health lwajja wano nandiyagadde okulaba bano abasawo bonna abali mu kwekalakaasa bajjuze room. Ministry of Education wejja wano nga minisita waali, njagala buli muntu yenna asasula fees ng'awulira nga anyigiriziddwa bajjuze room. N'olwekyo bannayuganda muzuukuke mumanye nti gavumenti eringa ng'olugi. Olugi olukaaba lwe lufuna grease, kubanga omunyolo we gutakaaba tegufuna grease. N'olwekyo mulina okwebeereramu mujje wano awali ensonga zino. Era nasabye ne pulezidenti w'eggwanga ku lunaku olusembayo nga tuggalawo ensonga zino, naye alabikeko Abannayuganda babeeko bye bamubuuza. Nsuubira ajja kukkiriza, oba ajja kujja naye ayinza okujja virtually ng'abeera ku screen, kubanga constitution egamba gavumenti erina okubeera ku musingi nga gw'abantu, abantu be bali sovereign. N'olwekyo bannayuganda bazuukuke
okukola ennongoosereza. Oyogambye nti mina bye mutuuse ngammwe mu Ministry of Justice okukola ennongoosereza mu ssemateeka w'eggwanga kimugenda okwanjula mu kabineti.
Twakalaba ennongoosereza nga 3, 2 akakiiko ka constitution kaaliwo, 2 akakiiko ka Professor Sempeebwa kaaliwo. Ebiseera ebisinga gavumenti ebadde ereeta ebiteeso nga bikyusaako buntu butinitini. Bannayuganda ebibasuza nga batunula tubimanyi. N'olwekyo akakiiko ke tusobola okuteekawo kasobola n'okumaliriza emirimu yaako mu mwaka gumu n'ekitundu, kubanga ensonga ezisinga tuzirina ku minisitule, endala ziri ku Law Reform Commission. Kati tulina okubeera n'engeri 2 gye tutambuzaamu ensonga zino. Engeri esooka, waliwo ensonga ezirina okugenda mu Parliament, waliwo ensonga endala ezirina okugenda mu bantu. Tulina okubeera n'olukiiko lw'Abannayuganda basobole okwogeraganya, bakanye ku nsonga ezimu. Ensonga ezimu Abannayuganda babuuza tukomyewo ebisanja oba nedda. Ensonga z'ettaka, tukoze tutya gavumenti okubeera n'ettaka? Constitution weeri kati osobola okubeera nannyini ttaka, naye gavumenti yeesalawo ky'osobola okukozesa ettaka lyo. Kati gavumenti wegamba nti wano twetaagawo ekkubo, walina kubeerawo ekkubo. Gavumenti wegamba nti wano wali gazetted kubeerawo masomero, wano wali gazetted kubeerawo factory. Ekyo kye bayita land use. Land ownership eri mu bantu, naye land use eri mu mikono gya gavumenti. Waliwo ensonga endala y'okwongeza gavumenti z'ebitundu, local governments, obuyinza. Abantu abasinga bweyogera ku federal ate bo bayinza okitwala bubi. Mu luzungu waliwo kye bayita devolution. Devolution kitegeeza abasalawo balina kubeera nga bali ku level eyo yennyini. Ensonga bwe ziba nga zikukwatako, kati okusalawo ku nsonga ezo kuteekwa okukolebwa ku level eyo yennyini. Mu luzungu bakiyita subsidiarity. kitegeeza ensonga z'amasaza abakulembeze b'amasaza be basobola okugasalawo ensonga ezo. Ensonga endala bwe zibeera nga za districts zisalibwewo ku level za districts. Ensonga eziri national ziryoke zibeere national ku level ey'eggwanga. Waliwo ensonga engeri gye tulondamu akakiiko k'ebyokulonda. E Bulaaya oba e Bungereza Parliament yeronda Electoral Commission. Wano President yalonda ne Parliament yesunsulamu oba yevetinga. Ensonga endala tulonze tutya? Tukozese parliamentary system oba tusigale ku presidential. Bwe tuba tulonde nga buli omu yeesimbayo nga ye, oba tuteekewo ebibiina nga buli kibiina kireeta abantu ne bagamba nti bano be bagenda okubeera ababaka baffe. Palamenti nnene ababaka abasukka mu 5,530 ndowooza. Abamu bateesa nti omubaka omu akiikirira Abannayuganda 15,000. Kitegeeza bwe tuba nga tuli Bannayuganda 45,000,000 tuteekwa okubeera ne palamenti nga tesukka ababaka 3. Abamu balina ekiteeso tubeere ne palamenti eyawaggulu gye bayita upper house oba tugiyite senate nga bwe kiri e Kenya, e South Africa n'awalala. Tubeere ne palamenti eno ey'abantu nga kwegamba okiikirira abantu bonna. Ate tubeere ne senate nga katugambe tulina ebitundu 18 sub-regions. Kitegeeza ba-senators bwe tugamba nti buli sub-region ebeere ne ba-senators 2. Kitegeeza nti ebitundu ebimu bisobola okubeera n'ababaka bangi, naye nga ku level ya senate ffenna tuba twenkana. Sebeyi baleeta ba-senators 2, Acholi baleeta 2, Ankole baleeta 2, Buganda 2 okubalansinga eggwanga. Tulina opportunity nnene nnyo oku-engineeringa future ya Uganda nga tuyita mu ssemateeka. Naye kijja kukola bwe tuba tewaliwo okuvuganya nti ministry kyesinga enguzi. Olina kusooka kwebuuza nti ministry kyesinga okukwata ssente. Ministry gye nkulembera tetukwata ssente.
In order to fulfill this manifesto commitment, the Judicial Service Commission is going to recruit more judicial officers to fill vacant positions. This commitment is on page 249 of the manifesto. So, in the financial years 2021-22 and 2022-23, 337 judicial officers were recruited. 337. The breakdown is as follows: 9 Supreme Court judges, 27 High Court judges, 6 registrars, 19 deputy registrars, the details are on the screen, 60 chief magistrates, 20 grade 1 magistrates, 10 principal magistrate grade 1, 30 senior magistrate grade 1, and 144 magistrate grade 1. The reason why the magistrates are many, because those are the areas where most people take their cases. The other courts usually exercise also appellate jurisdiction. Still under Judicial Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, in line with the manifesto on page 247, made a commitment to fight corruption and defeat it by strengthening investigative and prosecution machinery so that corruption cases are thoroughly probed, tried, and put before court of adjudication. These safeguards are important because our constitution requires due process. Even if the cabinet were to make a resolution that a judicial officer should be subjected to disciplinary proceedings and hearings, it is the Judicial Service Commission that conducts that hearing. This protects judicial officers against politically motivated witch hunting. So, I wish to report as follows. The Judicial Service Commission approved the investigation guide and prosecution manual. I encourage the media to look for this manual so that you know what happens. Because sometimes judicial officers are subjected to these hearings, but for you only report the outcome. You don't report the process. Processes and outcomes are tied together. 22 sensitization sessions and needs assessments were held by the Judicial Service Commission targeting support staff. The Judicial Service Commission in the last 2 years received 242 complaints, and of these, 102 were investigated. The Judicial Service Commission, also in line with the NRM Manifesto commitment on page 252, which is to strengthen juvenile justice system, has customized copies of brochures on children and law, domestic violence and sexual violence. This is part of the general education of the public. Director, let me put a footnote here. You recently heard of the cases of suspects from Karamoja who were pictured in the media looking emaciated. I want to state here that there's a bit of a conflict here because some of these facilities are under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. They are actually not under the Ministry of Justice. We don't supervise them. But though we haven't written it here, let me assure citizens that under our laws, we have people who are known as justices of the peace. These are respectable citizens who are given power by the law to enter any place of detention to see whatever is happening there. So we want to pledge here that at the Ministry of Justice, we shall ensure that we have more justices of the peace. And these people can go anywhere, whether it is a safe house, we hear of safe houses, whether it is a military detention facility, whether it is a police station, whether it is a government prison. Justices of the peace are supposed to have access because all citizens are entitled to be treated according to the law. So that is something we did not include in this write-up, but is one way of citizens monitoring what is happening. I think if justices of the peace had visited the remand home for children in Gulu, we wouldn't have ended up with that kind of sad situation, which was extremely embarrassing. The Judicial Service Commission has two challenges which we have noted here. Number one is, of course, inadequate resources. And then number two, Judicial Service Commission does not pay very well, so they don't attract some of the best people. So if you are going to attract the best legal professionals to be your staff, you must pay well. I want to state 3 planned interventions. The first one is continuous recruitment. Incidentally, the plan is to recruit eventually up to 151 judges of the High Court. The plan is also to ensure that every constituency has a magistrate grade 1. So access to justice is going to improve immensely. The Chief Justice is committed to deliver that. The Secretary of the Judiciary will elaborate more. The planned intervention 2 is that the Judicial Service Commission is open to receiving complaints. I think I would suggest, and the Secretary of the Judiciary can comment, whether we should not automate this, have an online complaint system There are also those who, out of fear, don't want to be seen taking a file. They want to remain anonymous. I think online complaints may be better. In the coming financial year, the Judicial Service Commission will also operationalize Masaka and Barara offices. On page 17, this is about Electoral Commission. The commitment in the NRM Manifesto is to continue consolidating and deepening democracy. The way we understand it at the Ministry of Justice is that the government is responsive to citizens. Most people think democracy is just about elections, but what's the point of electing people who afterwards ignore you, and then they accumulate enough resources to come and bribe you to keep them in offices? So, consolidating and deepening democracy has various ways, but this is what the Electoral Commission has to report. There have been successful by-elections following the presidential and general parliamentary elections. All the vacancies have been filled. There are a few that are still going for elections in Bukedea, and recently, following the tragic killing of our colleague minister, there will be a by-election in Oyam North. Last week I signed the statutory instrument declaring the cut-off dates for change of polling station. It is already being gazetted, I believe. So those who want to become registered voters in Oyam North have a small window to do that. Number two, the Electoral Commission has verified and confirmed administrative units across the country. This is important because it links up with the parish development model. People need to know these units. Number three, the Electoral Commission continues to produce voter education materials, and they undertake voter education outreach programs. There have been activities under the constitutional body known as National Consultative Forum, and also activities targeting political parties. Number five, the Electoral Commission was involved as a party in 188 election petitions, and out of those, 5 seats were declared vacant and by-elections were held. There was also a case challenging the outcome of the presidential election, but that one was withdrawn. The Electoral Commission, they have not put it here, but now they have a temporary home because UNRWA wants to construct a flyover along Ginger Road. So we recently went and officially opened their new home where they are tenants of the National Housing and Construction Corporation. It is expected that in the next few years, maybe 2 to 3 years, they will start constructing their own new home in Lumbuye on a 10-acre piece of land. That information is already in the public. The Electoral Commission has recorded 7 challenges, which are there on the screen on page 18. The commercialization of politics. You all know what I'm talking about, where votes go to the highest bidder. 2, late enactment of electoral laws. Now that one, the government has to take full responsibility. That is now our failure. If we come to enact laws at the last minute, definitely we are letting down the Electoral Commission. They also have the challenge of negative public perception by some stakeholders due to misinformation about the Electoral Commission. Of course, those who win elections don't complain, but those who lose elections always complain. It doesn't matter who, and it doesn't matter what sort of election. That's why you have independent MPs, because it simply means they were not satisfied with the processes within their own parties. Number 4 is election violence. The last election had some serious cases of violence which tainted the image not only of the Electoral Commission, but even of the government and security forces. So election violence has been recorded as a challenge by the Electoral Commission. You should know that the Electoral Commission does not have its own army, does not have its own police. So this is an indirect appeal for Ugandans to reduce violence. Number 5, underfunding of the Electoral Commission budget. You know, for instance, that the term of office of women councils have expired, but because of lack of money, they have not been elected.